Welcome to Amazing Mind, the HMI web TV talk show that introduces you to all sorts of interesting people and topics related to subconscious behavior. My name is Lisa Machenberg, hypnotherapist, HMI instructor, and host. Today we have an amazing guest, Satori Mateu. Now he's going to talk to us about why relationships fail and why they succeed. If Satori looks familiar, you have seen him on MTV's show Breakthrough. He's also an international speaker who's been on the stage with Tony Robbins and John Gray and many, many others. He's also the author of the transformational book, Kiss Fighting Goodbye. Please help me welcome my guest, Satori Mateu. Satori, tell me, how many relationships really succeed?
Great question. Approximately right now, about, depending on what kind of statistic you go after, about 60% of marriages end up in divorce. And out of the remaining 40, the study shows that 50% of women would actually leave their husbands in a heartbeat if it wasn't for finances and kids.
I can get that. So
and
how many is left?
Well, they show that about 1 to 3% are actually considering themselves genuinely happy in the marriage or the relationship. And the fascinating thing is that these are the people that you've chosen this person as the one. You probably dated a lot of people before, and this is the one, and still it fails that miserably. It's amazing.
Why do we have such an abysmal statistic?
Having worked with this for over 25 years, you can see the different patterns. And one thing that I know for sure is that parents have taught their kids, without knowing it, to lie. They taught their kids to be master liar. I'm not kidding about that.
How?
Because we've been taught to manipulate, hide our mistakes, hide our flaws. And because what we taught is that, when you're good, I love you. When you're not, I don't. So we grow up as adults and we continue to try to buy love with our behavior.
With being good. Yeah,
being good. Try to get people's approval, people to like us, to not be criticized, and so on.
I think about my own children, and I convey disappointment. I don't use the finger, but I convey disappointment when they are bad and approval when they are good.
Yeah.
Is this a bad thing?
With size, and yeah, absolutely. I mean, because it teaches that message, And we do with facial expressions. We do with, how many times have I told you,
Yes.
Don't talk like that to your sister,
Yes.
So
now that we have taught our children to be master manipulators, master liars, hide their flaws, be shamed by their flaws, what happens when we come into a relationship?
Well, what happens is that, we come into a relationship, we already start empty. And we want something. We basically expect and demand that our partner to fill our emptiness. And they can't. They don't have the, most of us have never learned to actually love unconditionally or how to feel genuinely happy. So you can't give something you don't have. So you expect your partner to do something that they're not equipped to do. So you get disappointed, and then you start criticizing, you start being, angry, criticizing, all the kind of stuff that happens in a relationship.
Well, let's start at the beginning. How many people in the studio audience and at home are single and dating? Raise your hand. Hey, even if you're at home, raise your hand. Good, all right. What kind of advice can you give the people who are dating so they don't end up a statistic?
Great question. So what I look at is that we need to retrain our brain to literally tell the truth and to be able to feel comfortable enough to tell the truth about our mistakes, our flaws. So let's say, in a dating situation, if you are on a date, I would ask the question, what was the reason your last relationship ended?
Well, I know the main answer. He was a commitment phobe, and she was crazy.
Right. So whenever the sentence starts with a he or she, that's a good indication that, down the line, that person's going to start, blaming you for their unhappiness. And that's what we do. Your parents have told you, you make me happy, or you make me angry, or we always make other people responsible for how we feel.
So what should we listen for instead?
So what we're looking at is, if I was on a date with you, and I was going to, you asked me that question, I could say to you, well, I used to work a lot, and my hobbies, my work, my friends, they always came before her. So she felt, not prioritized. And as a result, she got fed up. and she left me. And now I know that, you know, in order to have a successful relationship, you need to make your partner, you know, number one. As an example, like, you tell the truth about your flaws, or your mistakes, and what you learn from them. Not just, you know, revealing all your flaws, but really, what do you learn about it? What kind of decisions are you making differently today than you did back then?
Well, your date can have two reactions. I can either then reveal, well, three things can happen. I can either reveal my part in the demise of my last relationship. I can either say, that's fascinating, I left mine because he was crazy. Or I can go, well, and look at the time.
Right.
So what happens when you have one of those three reactions?
So when you have those reactions, what you want to look at is that you can have this understanding in less than 1 hour. So if you have a person that can actually see you and accept you and is fascinated to hear the truth, then you have something to build on. If you have the person that starts looking at the clock, then you know that that's not a person who's going to see and accept you no matter what. Mm-hmm. They're not going to do it, you know, now, and they're not going to do it 6 months from now. So next, you know.
Yes.
And some people, they're going to look at you with a look of disapproval, and you know that's not a fit for you either.
Yes. So now that we know what to do in a dating situation, is anybody here or at home in a relationship currently that has a little conflict? Raise your hand. What can we do for those people? What can you teach us so we don't end up a statistic in the relationship we're in?
Great. So in order to not end up as a statistic, if you look at, you know, most people are so afraid of telling the truth. Like I said, you know, we grew up that way. So the first thing is to realize, let me ask you this. Can you remember a time either with the conflict with either your husband or your kids?
No.
Of course not.
Well, yes, I lied, yes. Recently, should I tell you about it?
Sure.
Recently, my husband texted me, and I was driving, and I never text when I drive. So I didn't text him back for an hour and a half. And when I got hold of him, oh, was he angry? And then I was really, really angry because he was mad at me for doing the right thing. How dare he be angry at me for doing the right thing and keeping his children safe? Right.
So let me give you a metaphor first that maybe clarify it. So imagine we're sitting, you know, by my house, by the pool. You know, it's a sunny day in Malibu, and we're sitting there and enjoying a great conversation. And let's say you're having your new dress on, and all of a sudden somebody splashes you. And first you may ignore it, and then after a while, you know, that happens again and again. So you start feeling what, like impatient, you know, inconvenience, angry, you know, upset. So you want to stand up and like tell that idiot that is, you know, splashing you to stop it, right? So you know, you move you move those sun chairs, and you go to the end of the pool and look, and you see that the person is not splashing you; he's actually drowning.
Oh.
So what happens to that anger? Immediately, it's gone. Right, in a heartbeat. Like the anger turns from being angry to actually what?
Empathy.
Right?
And love.
Right, you care about this person. You really want to help this person, right? So you can literally, you don't have to work on your anger. It literally transforms that quickly.
Yes.
So when you start seeing your partner differently, then you also can act differently. So if you look at your husband, as you know, to give that example, is that what he was feeling unloved, uncared for, probably feeling pretty worthless. But he was not reacting to this moment. See, he's reacting to a lifetime of pain, a lifetime of the message, I don't love you. Yes. Make sense? So he's laying in the pool splashing, and rather than helping up, you jump in the pool too.
We both drowned that day.
Yes, right?
Yes. So what do we do differently?
So we get to start with telling the truth. Telling the truth about our fears, our feelings, you know, our mistakes, our flaws, and here's something that people can do at home watching this. I'll give you two examples. One for single, one for being in a relationship. Perfect. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. You know, you're single, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to sit, you know, grab pen and paper and write down in what ways were you. That's telling the truth, right? In what ways were you trying to manipulate or trying to get the person to like you? Like, what did you do to get the person to want to spend more time with you? Meaning, did you dress sexy? Were you trying to be funny, intelligent, you know, witty? What did you try to do to get this person to approve of you?
Throw money around.
Right. Right? So what did you do? So just notice that, right?
Yeah.
So that's one way to start telling the truth. Like, just notice what you're doing.
So you're trying to buy, in what ways are you trying to buy love?
Yes.
And does the awareness, merely the observing, change it?
Yeah, so because we don't want to do that, right? So by seeing it, not judging it, just seeing it, not like, oh, no, I'm so bad, blah, blah, you know. See it, tell the truth about it, and then drop it. Let it go. Mm. And every time, just start, the more you see it, the more you're going to see.
Yes.
Right?
How about for our people who are in a relationship?
So same thing, that you have a conflict, you ask the question, ask yourself the question, you know, I'm not sure where the camera is, but ask yourself the question, you know, what was my part in this? In which way was I selfish? In which way was I attacking? In which way was I controlling? Just see, what was my part in this? See it, tell the truth about it, and if you don't feel safe enough to tell the truth to your partner, at least tell the truth to yourself, and then let it go.
And then let it go.
And keep repeating that.
That is incredibly helpful, and I want everyone to give this a try. I know that I will. Satori, I was so excited when you told me that you have a free gift for everybody.
Yes. I have a free ebook called The #1 Secret to Genuine Happiness. And for everyone watching, they can actually get instant access to it right now by going to livetolovebootcamp.com/Lisa.
And then Lisa will get them that free gift.
Yes.
Don't forget your Lisa.
So livetolovebootcamp.com/Lisa. And they can download it right now and get instant access to The #1 Secret to Genuine Happiness.
Excellent. What other projects do you have coming up?
We're actually having a brand new boot camp called Live to Love Boot Camp, and it's about how to eliminate your fears, your anger, and your emptiness from your life, and step into a life that you actually love, where you can make a difference.
Absolutely. If they go to that website, can they also get information in case anyone wants to contact you privately or come in and see you in your private practice?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they will get information about that as well.
Well, Satori Mateu, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on my show. But we're going to take a short break. But please stay tuned, because we're going to come back with our second guest, and we're going to learn how we can nurture the clients in our office and help them cope with the loss of an animal companion. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This study shows that 50% of women would actually leave their husbands in a heartbeat if it wasn't for finances and kids.
I can get that. So
how
many is left?
Well, they show that about 1 to 3% are actually considering themselves genuinely happy in their marriage and the relationship. And
Welcome to Amazing Mind, the HMI web TV talk show that introduces you to all sorts of interesting people and topics related to subconscious behavior. My name is Lisa Machenberg, hypnotherapist, HMI instructor, and host. Today we have an amazing guest, Satori Mateu. Now he's going to talk to us about why relationships fail and why they succeed. Satori, tell me, how many relationships really succeed?
Great question. Approximately right now, depending on what kind of statistic you go after, about 60% of marriages end up in divorce. And out of the remaining 40...
If Satori looks familiar, you have seen him on MTV's show Breakthrough. He's also an international speaker who's been on the stage with Tony Robbins and John Gray and many, many others. He's also the author of the transformational book, Kiss Fighting Goodbye. Please help me welcome my guest, Satori Mateu.